Blog Talk Radio.
Hello, and welcome to today's episode of 219 Green Connect, where we explore topics about the environment and green living in Northwest Indiana. For past show archives, news, and upcoming events, you can check out our website at 219greenconnect.com or connect with us on Facebook or Twitter. Our ID on both Facebook and Twitter is 219 Green Connect. You can also subscribe to our podcast via iTunes. Listeners to our live show today, June 5th, can phone in at 805-243-1323 to post questions or to join us on the live call. I'm Kathy Sipple. I'm your host, and with me today I've got Susan Swarner from the Swarner Nature Preserve and also the Valparaiso Chain of Lakes. Help me out, Susan. I always get this name wrong. What is the proper name?
The Valparaiso Chain of Lakes Watershed.
Great. And you are the secretary for that group?
Yeah.
Great. And so one of the really exciting things you guys do each year is called Naturepalooza, right?
Yes. This is the second year it's called Naturepalooza.
Okay.
But it's been growing. It's also called the Living with Lakes Seminar. So this is the 13th year of it that our group's been running it. Yeah.
Cool. And this year, the date is Saturday, June 16th?
Yes, June 16th, 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. roughly, but it might go a little longer than that, depending on how long people want to stay.
Yeah, and I assume people can get full details on the Valpo Chain of Lakes website. Is that right?
Yes, it's valpolilakes.org.
Okay, cool.
There's a flyer, and there'll be a phone number to contact, and I think there's a map for directions, too.
Great. So tell us a little bit about, how did this event come to be? What's involved that day? I did read the description, and it sounds like just a lot of fun.
Yeah. So the Living with Lakes Seminar started just to kind of inform the public a little more about the lakes and just specific things. What's happening at this one is a lot of different lectures and then some interpretive nature hikes and also some children's activities. So we have Greg Quartucci coming. He is an ecology professor from IUN, and he's going to be going on a wetlands hike. So the event's at Wahab Lake on the shore, so there's a trail that goes right along all the wetlands down there. So he'll be taking people down there.
Great.
And talking to him about that, yeah. And then Robin Scribilo, another professor from PNC, is doing an aquatic botany talk down by the water. And he's actually done a survey of a lot of the aquatic plants in the lakes in the past. So he knows a lot about that subject, yeah. And then Sandy O'Brien will be there. She's a botanist, and she'll be doing a plant hike. And then Mo Anderson, who's a sort of a local historian, will be there, and people can sort of chat with him. He's not doing a formal lecture, I don't think, but he's just there to chat with people about the history of the lake.
Okay, so this sounds like a great opportunity to ask people. I go on a lot of hikes at the dunes, and I'm constantly posting pictures on Facebook, and often I have no idea what I'm taking a picture of. It sounds like these people collectively would know just about anything you could throw at them.
Yeah, they definitely, a lot of people very qualified to teach people about nature and about especially the lakes in particular.
Well, that sounds like a lot of fun. So how long is the hike, would you suppose? Is it very long?
They'll vary. It's not very long. I would guess at the most it would be half a mile. Because they'll be talking at times. There'll also be a few hikes throughout the day, I think. Okay. So there'll be more than one chance. So if you come earlier in the day or later in the day, you'll have a chance to kind of talk to all the people about the different subjects they're kind of lecturing on. Great.
And obviously you are Susan Swarner, and it is the Swarner Nature Preserve. So tell us a little bit about, just your family and efforts toward conservation. I mean, I know you've got a number of different nature preserves around Valparaiso. Is that right?
Yes. My dad actually grew up on Long Lake.
Okay.
And when he and my mom got married, he moved back here, and they bought the house from my grandparents, his parents, that he grew up in. And he was really attached to this area. So he and my mom started buying properties that were at high risk for development to conserve them, and then they had them put into classified forests. And now my mom does a lot of restoration work on them in terms of habitat restoration. And then my dad passed away in 1999, so after that, that's when my mom had the signs made of Swarner Nature Preserve, and really kind of labeled them that.
Yeah, so kind of a tribute to him in a way. Yeah, I'm
Mm-hmm.
really sorry for your loss, by the way. I mean, I'm sure that he had to have been quite young. But what a beautiful thing that your family has done to preserve such wonderful, wonderful land that we've got here in Valparaiso. And I can't wait until June 16th to get a look, because typically I believe it's not open to the public. Is that right?
Right. It's all private property, and sort of just to keep it as natural as possible, and also to make it more of like a wildlife preserve. But on this day, it's open. The event's open to the public, so people can come for the talks or just to hang out and see the property and walk around.
Sounds like a great opportunity. And I know that you're holding this event in conjunction with several other partners too. Woodland, Savannah.
Yeah, Woodland Savannah Land Conservancy, and then the Porter County chapter of the Isaac Walton League is also co-sponsoring the event.
Great. Now, is that a first, or did you partner with them last year as well?
We also partnered with them last year, the year before they came, and then they really liked it, so we started partnering with them.
Good. So what kind of efforts have come from this partnership? Have you found that there have been, synergies or ways that you can work on other, land conservation projects?
Well, so far we don't have any projects in conjunction aside from the picnic every year, but it's definitely nice because we all have very similar ideals and similar goals. So starting to kind of bring those groups together to work together is definitely a benefit. I think in the future it will definitely lead to more projects that we work on together in conjunction with the other groups. So it's a good network to build.
Yeah, I know you're not necessarily a member of the others, but do you have any ideas of how you vary or what what makes the Valpo Lakes group different? What are the pieces that each of these partners, I guess, put in, if you can speak on that?
Yeah, I'm actually a member of the Porter County Isaac Walton League, and that focus is more in line with the National Isaac Walton League organization, and they focus more on the Little Calumet River watershed in Lake Michigan and closer to the national park, whereas Valpo Chain of Lakes is focused pretty much solely on the Valpo Lakes. That's where we focus a lot of our efforts, and our stewardship things and our projects are all focused on the Valpo Lakes as opposed to the Little Calumet watershed.
Okay.
And then Woodland Savannah is a land trust. So I'm not a member of Woodland Savannah, but they are focused on sort of acquiring land for their land trust for conservation.
Gotcha.
And they actually, they acquired a small Geiselman Island in Long Lake. They just acquired that a few years ago. So that's sort of their connection to the Valpo Lakes, too.
Cool. And I think wasn't that island part of Naturepalooza last year?
It was a couple years ago. Last year it was on Loomis Lake. Yeah, but then there was the Geiselman Island dedication.
Yep, that's the one I was thinking of. I really wanted to get to that, didn't make it. But, well, not sure if you know this, but we're also making that the official June green drinks for the month of June. We normally get together on Monday evenings, the third Monday of each month. But because this is such a fun event, we just decided let's not divide up the green folks of Northwest Indiana or Valpo, and let's just all put our heads together and make it a great event. So Green Drinks is really looking forward to participating. I know it's a potluck, so you encourage people to bring a dish to share.
Yeah, all the main food, like the hamburgers and I think there's going to be veggie burgers and stuff, that will be provided, and drinks will be provided. So if people want to bring a side dish or a dessert, something like that, or chips or something easy, they can definitely bring that to share with people who come.
Okay,
but there will be food provided,
Great. So is this a fundraiser for the group, or is there a cost to attend?
There's no cost. It's free. If people want to make donations, we accept donations, but the main goal is to really just have an opportunity for people to come and get knowledge about the lakes and learn more about specific parts of the lakes, just to kind of inform the public. So if they want, we do accept donations, but there's no cost to attend the picnic.
Okay. Well, it sounds like a great opportunity to get out and see some beautiful nature and get a lot of really good information. I know parking is a little tight, right? So tell us a little bit about how...
At the actual location, there's not a lot of parking. So if someone isn't capable of making a short hike, they could park down by Wahab Lake. But on the map, you can kind of see other alternative parking places. One is down on 70 East on Long Lake, and it's just a short hike down to where the picnic is, and it's a short hike down the road and then mostly through the woods. So it's a really nice hike, and you'll get to see a lot more of the property parking over on 70 East. So there's enough parking. It's just some of the parking, it's a little bit of a hike, but not a bad hike. It's flat, and it's really pretty. So
it's like a good opportunity for carpooling, too.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, good. So tell us a little bit about, what people will see when they go. I mean, what is the landscape like? You've mentioned wetlands. What's
there's a wetland. Yeah, there's a wetland area. And then it goes up onto at the top of a hill. So it's not very hilly. Most of the trail is pretty flat. It's pretty easy to hike. But it's all wooded. And then there's a small clearing where we'll have the food and everything. And then there's some parts that are lower and it gets a little muddy. So it's been pretty dry, so I don't think it will be too muddy on the hikes. But they might not want to wear their nicest shoes if they plan on going on the wetland hike.
Sounds like a good plan. Well, so this is where you grew up then, right on the lake?
Yeah, I grew up on Long Lake, and then my parents bought the property on Wahab before I remember. So I grew up walking down there and taking our dogs down there and playing down there. So I've been through the lake my whole life.
Yeah, it sounds like quite an interesting childhood. I mean, what did that mean to you as a young person, growing up on a lake? How did that influence your interaction with nature and appreciation for the environment?
I think it just made it really sort of intrinsic. I just remember everything. I just played outside all the time. I was always out in a boat or swimming or catching tadpoles. So I think growing up like that, just constantly being around nature really made, when I got older, just made me really passionate about why we need to conserve the environment and protect our natural resources and things like that. So I think that really led to me, now that I'm involved in these groups, really understanding why it's so important to keep those things protected.
Great. And your job right now, you said you're working at the Dunes Learning Center, is that right?
Yes. I'm a naturalist intern there.
Okay. Well, I'm sure you made an excellent candidate for that. Were you able to bring a lot of your experiences from your early days into this experience teaching? You're teaching mostly younger children there, right?
Yeah, it's mostly 4th through 6th grade that we get. I definitely think it helps being able to remember what it was like for me being young, experiencing different things out in nature and out in the woods, bringing that to my job. I definitely think it helps me kind of think of what the kids would really like to know and what they'd really like to experience and bring that perspective to my job so that I focus on what would really have an impact on them and what they would leave with remembering the most. So,
what do you think the typical experience of the 4th through 6th grader that attends Dunes Learning Center is? If they spend a lot of time outside, or is this kind of a novelty for them?
A lot of them, it's the first time they've really been out in the woods. They might have spent time outside in their yard, but when we take them on hikes, we're really out in the woods. We're playing games off trail a little bit. We're digging in the wetlands looking for frogs and salamanders. So it's really hands-on. It really puts them in nature as a participant, and they get to really see up close and personal different things about the ecosystems, just different, even just playing out in the woods, just really being in nature and experiencing it firsthand. So I think for a lot of them, it's the first time they've been able to do a lot of that stuff, especially if they're not from this area.
Right. Where are most of the kids from?
It varies. In the fall, we had all the Duneland elementary schools, all their 4th graders came out. So some of those kids might have had more experience with this area. And then we also get a lot of Chicago schools who are from the city, so they don't really get to spend a lot of time out in the woods like kids here might. So we got a pretty wide variety.
Well, did you ever just feel like I must have been one of the luckiest kids to live where I lived?
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I definitely felt like that a lot.
Yeah. Now, do you still live on the lake today?
Well, we get housing for our job for the Dunes Learning Center.
Oh, that's right.
But my mom still lives. Yeah, but my mom
Okay.
still lives on the lake, so I go home and visit a lot.
Okay. Well, yeah, it seems like a beautiful campus up there. I'm obviously not in the 4th through 6th grade, so I haven't been able to personally experience it, but I did get an opportunity to drive around. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Well, so how long have you been with the Dunes Learning Center?
I started in last August, so I was here during our school programs, and now we're just starting our summer camp season. So we're in training right now. Our first camp starts June 17th.
Wow, big month for you, June. You have Naturepalooza June
the day
16th,
after the
and then it sounds like you got to get your rest. So what has your training been to become a naturalist? What's involved with that?
It's a lot of it's sort of identification and learning content, specific content about the area and the ecosystems and the cultural history. But it's also a lot of just learning. Like I have a degree in education, but it's a lot of also learning how to teach when you're outside and how to teach to like a trail group of kids rather than being in a classroom. So they give us a wide variety of skills when we are through training and start teaching the kids. So it's been a really good experience.
It sounds like it. So who conducts that training? Would that be the Dunes Learning Center staff, or do you have other people come in?
It's mostly our staff. It's our lead naturalists and our education director.
Okay.
But sometimes the national park, we're in partnership with them, so sometimes they will come in and kind of give special talks either about invasive species and the procedures for that or just other things about the park. We also get opportunities to shadow the national park employees, so we have a ranger who comes and talks to us about that too. So
great. Sounds like a wonderful experience, given your background. So what are your long-term plans? Do you think you'll become a naturalist, or how would you like to apply all these experiences?
I'm become a lot more interested in environmental education working here. I'm also interested in museum education, so eventually I'd like to try to go down that route and see if I can make that work out. And I think that's really similar to environmental education in that you're kind of interacting directly with, artifacts, or even if you're outside at a national park. Like, I think those two fields are pretty closely related, so I'd also like to explore that field a little more in the future.
Great. I'm just going to tell people, in case they just joined us, this is Kathy Sibble. You're listening to 219 Green Connect, and today I'm talking with Susan Swarner of Swarner Nature Preserve, the Valpo Lakes Group, and also the Dunes Learning Center. So she's a very busy young lady, very committed to nature and Northwest Indiana environmental education. Well, it sounds like you could be conducting your own tour at Naturepalooza.
Yeah, I'm going to be kind of running the children's activities. So we'll have face painting, but we'll also have some crafts they can do.
Great.
And I'm also going to be doing a nature hike for children, too. So kind of a different perspective, Yeah,
well, it sounds like a great program. And so tell me a little bit about your work with the Valpo Lakes Group. I know you're the secretary for that. And what kinds of things do you personally do with the group? And can you tell us a little bit about what the group gets involved in?
Yeah. Well, me personally, like you said, I'm the secretary. We're also one big project we're working on right now is a book. And the goal of this book is to sort of have an inventory of a lot of the plants and animals on the lake, as well as some chapters about the human history of the lake. And eventually we want to get this distributed to the public as just another resource to learn about the area. But I'm going to be providing some photographs for that.
Oh, great.
I've taken a lot of photography of the lakes over the years. And then I also just help with other projects. Like when we go to different festivals or different things, I always try to bring some children's activities, and my mom also helps me coordinate those. So I'm really interested in the education part of it. Also, the goal of the group, obviously, is the protection of the lakes in Valpo. It got started way back in 1993, obviously before I was a member. And it was in response to a lot of silt runoff going into Flint Lake. So that's always a big project we're working on, is ways to reduce the silt flowing into the lakes and into the wetlands surrounding them, to kind of lessen that impact that the different construction projects have. So we're always kind of keeping our eye on that and working on that. And then we also, as a whole group, do a lot of invasive species control around the lakes. So a lot of stewardship. One project they did, before I was a member, they did on Purple Loosestrife, they released the Galaricella beetle, and they actually have a population of those that's starting to grow a little, and that's just a beetle that kind of eats the plant, reduces the plant population of the Purple Loosestrife. So they're also, we do a lot of stewardship things and a lot of just water quality things around the lake. So.
What do you think are the biggest threats to water quality for the Valpo Lakes right now?
Well, like I said, one of them is the silt runoff. That's a big threat, just the impact it has on the whole habitat and the water quality. Another one, which is actually starting to get a little better, is the fertilizers people use. A lot of fertilizers are becoming phosphate-free, which is really great. Because one problem was all the phosphates running in from the fertilizers running off people's lawns. So that's starting to get better, because there's a lot of fertilizers that are just getting rid of their phosphate. So that's one thing we've been concerned about. Another is people dumping oil or gasoline into the storm drains, because all that storm drain water usually runs into the lakes either right away or eventually. So that's another problem, a big problem I think the lakes are facing. Those are probably the three biggest.
Okay. And, I'd like to give people ideas or resources if somebody's feeling guilty right now. Whoops, I did one of those things. What are some different options? I think that the Porter County recycling and waste reduction people, they did a big thing at the Expo Center last month where you could bring in oil, you could bring in any lawn chemicals you might have that you wanted to dispose of, and they would dispose of them properly. So you can definitely check out their website at meanstheworld.org and look for upcoming events. They do that every so often. Any other tips for how people can avoid being one of those polluters or causing problems?
Getting your oil and everything recycled is a really good idea. Using phosphate-free fertilizers, which, like I said, a lot of them are becoming phosphate-free, so that's getting easier and easier. Cutting down maybe a little bit on fertilizers if you can. I understand, sometimes that's hard with whatever kind of lawn you have. And just sort of being really aware of just what you're doing in the lakes. A lot of them have speed limits, so if you have a boat, try to adhere to that speed limit because the one the lakes created, it kind of creates some erosion on the sides, which can lead to that more sediment coming in. So just kind of being more aware of your actions around the lake can be really good too. So things like that. It doesn't have to be gigantic steps. Just like little things you can do. Just being aware of what kind of chemicals you're putting in and where your water's running to and things like that can help a lot. So.
Yeah, it's really interesting how that whole watershed thing works. I mean, it's important because you're affecting the Valpo Lakes, obviously, but that is all connected to the Lake Michigan system. Is that right?
Yeah.
I mean, everybody's in a watershed. I think I attended a workshop, something like that Save the Dunes put on, which was very interesting. I mean, it is, I guess, a case of acting locally, but your actions do have impact even beyond, your immediate lake. Yeah, very, very interesting. And how about the wildlife? I mean, what's some of the more interesting wildlife you've seen around your lake?
Around Wahab Lake specifically, I've seen a ton of herons. I've seen a lot of blue herons and even some green herons every once in a while.
Wow, I don't think I've ever seen a green heron. Interesting.
Yeah, they don't look anything like blue herons, but
really? Okay.
Yeah, but that was really cool. I just saw a beaver a couple weeks ago. I've seen a lot of kingfishers, tons of red-winged blackbirds, but there's just a ton of wildlife that are around the lakes, especially around the shore line of the more wooded parts. So I think my brother even saw a coyote one time, but I've never seen one.
I saw one crossing the street just last week. I think we were on.
Oh, really?
I think where we were, it was like on Calumet or something. So that was kind of.
Oh,
different. Yeah. Yeah, they're usually a little little more wily, like the cartoon, Wile E. Coyote. Well, I can't wait for Naturepalooza. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I mean, typically with Northwest Indiana Green Drinks, we're in a coffee shop and we've got a PowerPoint presentation, and it's more, lecture format. But this nice weather that we're having and this beautiful opportunity, we just thought, hey, let's not just talk about nature, let's get out in it. So I look forward to reconnecting with you. I think we've met at a Green Drinks or two, but I think this will be a great opportunity for folks to find out about, the Nature Preserve, learn quite a bit of information from the many experts who will be on hand, and also the different organizations that are contributing. So it sounds like a great time. Anything else that you'd like to share, either about yourself or the event?
I don't think so.
Do you
have any more questions about the event?
I always like to, you might guess by the name, 219 Green Connect. I like to help people find out about ways they can get involved, in whatever aspect of being green appeals to them. So, certainly the environment, and so any other resources or tips, cool green events that you're aware of that you'd like to share. It doesn't even have to be one, you're putting on. But I think just the more we talk about it, the more people find out and have a place to, get involved.
Well, I know the Dunes Learning Center is having their picnic this coming Saturday on June 9th. June 9th from 11 to 4.
Okay.
And I think Zona Fest is actually this weekend, too. I think it's Saturday and Sunday now. So
I don't think I know about that. Now, what is that like?
It's another wildlife preserve. I think it's owned by the county now, by Porter County, but I'm not sure the address, but I'm sure it's online. But I'm pretty sure it's 2 days now, and it's sort of just another kind of wildlife festival.
Okay, and how do you spell that?
Zona.
Zona. Okay, and where is that?
I don't remember the exact address. I've only been out there a couple times, I think, but I'm sure. I think it's probably online.
Okay, I'll check it out and post some links for follow-up. Well, great. I always end up finding out more from people who come on the show and who I talk to in my daily round. And I just, with this podcast and this radio show, would like to get a lot more people out there and excited about all the wonderful opportunities that we've got. So I thank you, Susan Swarner, for being with us today. And we look forward to seeing many of you at Naturepalooza. That's happening Saturday, June 16th from 11 to 4 at the Swarner Nature Preserve. You can go to, let's give them the website one more time where they can get details for parking and directions.
ValpoLakes.org.
Great, and I'll post that link on the show archive as well. So you've been listening to Blog Talk Radio 219 Green Connect with Kathy Sipple. This is a occasional radio show whenever we've got somebody who has a green event they'd like to share. So if you'd like to be a guest, you can email me, Kathy, at 219greenconnect.com, or you can call me 219-462-0600. Thanks so much, Susan, and we'll see you at Naturepalooza. Bye-bye.
All right, I'll see you then.